Welcome back, my fellow patriots, to the Save Our Republic Daily video series. We've discussed recently the freedoms of speech and press, as well as the free exercise of religion and the separation of the prohibition of a government church. And today I'm going to talk about the right to petition the government. This is a separate unalienable right that is recognized in the First Amendment. And it is somewhat of an outgrowth of free speech and free press, but it is also very different. The right to petition is something that we don't really think about very often today. It was something that was hard fought for and very difficult to achieve in both modern times as well as it was kind of inconceivable in ancient history. The idea is that you would go to a government, your local official, perhaps your state, county, or even your national official, and have a set of grievances that you believe need to be addressed by the government. And this, in essence, encapsulates the idea of two major points. One is that you have the right to dissent from what the government is doing, or the right to point out flaws, problems that are going on, unaddressed issues. It might not be just simply I oppose what you're doing, but you need to do something. So both challenges of omission of what the government has not been doing, as well as challenges of what the government has been doing. So both a positive and negative. And it is part of the social compact, this idea that the people have come together to protect themselves and their unalienable rights by creating a government, that they've given up some of their natural rights to protect their freedoms by vesting that authority in a government so that we don't have a war of all against all, vigilante justice, and in return that the government is accountable to ensuring our unalienable rights are protected and that it is accountable to the people. Therefore, it needs the consent of the governed, and the right of petition is fundamental to that, because without being able to have the ability to go to the government and demand action, or to ask or to demand them not to do things, or to do things when they aren't doing things, then that social contract, and I slipped there, is the social compact, would be broken by having an insulated government unaccountable to the people. So the idea of petition is fundamental to supporting our unalienable rights, both through the social compact as well as simply to express ourselves and demand accountability and action from the government. As I said before, we take this kind of for granted. It seems to be an antiquated idea that you take a piece of paper, you'd write something down, and then you'd have people physically sign it. In its day, it was fundamentally powerful and really revolutionary. Most governments would not tolerate this kind of activity. It would be often an excuse for the government to crack down on people, to oppress them, to suppress their rights, to put them in jail, or even execute them. And there are many countries today that if you try to do that, that's exactly what will happen to you. So although we take it for granted, it is certainly something that we should relish it and cherish it. And today we have what I consider to be outgrowths or modernization of this, social media, and people posting, blogging, tweeting, whatever it is, and getting likes and shares. That's really, in essence, just a very, very modern version of the right to petition. So imagine if you lived in a world where the government, I'm not talking about the social media giants, and that's a different issue, which is very serious, but the government saw a post and then came after you, censored you, and then perhaps threw you and your family in jail or executed you because you were opposing a government policy or critiquing the government. And there are societies today where there's massive control of what is put out in the public square, either literally, like people walking to the public square, or trying to give physical petitions, or online as well. All that activity is surveilled, and there are governments that are very authoritarian, cracking down on people as we speak, as you listen to this today. So cherish that right, exercise it, and make sure that you protect it every time you can. Until tomorrow, don't forget about America's Survival Guide at americasurvivalguide.com, Patriot Week at patriotweek.org, and the Patriot Lessons American History and Civics podcast at all the great platforms for podcasts, as well as the Patriot Lessons TV program at patriotweek.org. God bless you, and God bless America.